right. Thank you very much for joining us on another Pulse Beat episode sponsored by Cardio Miracle. We have a very exciting show for you today. We have two wonderful, incredible people that I'm going to introduce real quickly after I introduce my wonderful co-host. This is Diana Parker.
Hello, everybody.
Wonderful. Yeah, we're so excited. She's the concierge and actually part of our customer service team, part of our outreach program where we want to make sure that everybody is communicated with and taken care of at all times. And she's a gem. We really appreciate her. So thank you so much again for being here. Let's go ahead and jump into our guests. Let me read their wonderful opening that we're going to go through here. So they are the functional medicine health coaches and root cause clinicians, Cherie and Ashley. Their root cause approach focuses on the foundations for the optimal health. The foundations include organic, nutrition-dense whole foods, hydration, movement, stress management, sleep, sunlight, non-toxic living, and emotional health. They work to enhance personal health journeys and provide practical strategies and valuable insight into long-term well-being. Cherie Page and Ashley Swanson are unbelievable people that they have the path of wellness is not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's an individualized journey. There is always hope and healing as health coaches. They work to address root causes, issues, create healthy habits, and optimize health. In health, Cherie and Ashley do this every single day. We're so excited to have them join us. Ashley, Cherie, how you guys doing today?
Good. Great day
glad
outside.
to be here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so wonderful to be with you guys. Cherie, you actually sent me a couple things earlier that I would love to kind of give you the floor and open up whatever you'd want to open up with and kind of talk to us about on what you guys do and what your approach is with health and wellness and how you're reaching so many people. It sounds unbelievable.
Absolutely. We have a different approach. We work with doctors and we become part of their new patient package. And as they get a new client, they send them off to us and we work with everything from, cancer, Hashimoto's, POTS, high blood pressure. We do webinars for the doctors and everything else. And those are our clients. And then we implement things, but we each had our own health journey. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing what we do, because we love it. I had stage 4 cancer, when I was pregnant with my son, like 8 months along. And so everything changed. Everything changed on a dime. So I incorporated everything that we do in, from a day-to-day basis. I didn't have to have any type of conventional medicine intervention. I did it all holistically, figured it out by myself. So that's what I had to do. Ashley had the same kind of situation, but it was different. So she can tell you that. Yeah,
autoimmune, a blood clot, things like that, where again, these conventional doctors, we both experienced, our patients experienced, they're kind of just sending you on the treadmill route of pill and procedure, fear is their tactic, no hope. And so we're both passionate about saying, we can become your detective with a magnifying glass. We can find out all the root causes of disease and address those things. And there's always hope and healing. And that's what our patients are happy to hear too. So.
Absolutely. You guys are both so inspiring. And I want to put Diane on the spot about how you've been able to work with them and how you've just how they've inspired you, I guess, on the journey that you guys have been through as a concierge and thing.
They've been wonderful to work with. We made contact when they first started, and they told me a little bit about what they did, and they are so passionate about what they do that it's, when I hear them talk like just now, it's like, yeah, there's hope. There's always hope. And they found out about Cardio Miracle and are now implementing that in their routines.
Wow. That's incredible. So Cherie, if you wouldn't mind, can you go into a little bit about the cancer diagnosis that you went through and were you able to were you able to kind of heal yourself through whole foods and vegetables, or what was
Absolutely.
that like for you?
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared. There was nobody in my corner, right? That's what we are for other people now because I went
Yeah.
through that. My mom was an RN, so she was from only the medical world. I went to the oncologist and he said, you know what? I think you have cancer everywhere. I stood up, I turned around, I walked out the door, and I did my own journey. So it was my own research. I had a great chiropractor, I had a great homeopathic doctor that's also a medical doctor in my corner, and I went down the path, went through my cupboards, cleared out all of my cupboards. It changed everything about myself in a moment. And it was work, and I read and I studied and went back to school and all that, but it was not going to happen to me today. I have a brand new baby boy on the way, so let's see what we can do, because they gave me no hope, and I refused to believe it. I guess that's what happened. I said, nope, we're going to make some changes. So
That's unbelievable. And how many years ago was that?
30
Oh,
30 years
wow.
ago.
Okay.
And people don't
Okay.
tend to survive melanoma stage 4.
Oh,
People get it all the time, and I'm like, don't be scared. Like, don't let fear ruin your life ever. Like, take action. Always take action. That's what we do. So
good for you. That's amazing. So I personally, not, my fiance and I joke how everything comes back to me because it's the Josh show, but it's not, it's not about that. So, but when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2009, to me, that was a death sentence. And they literally told me that the doctor told me that there was no cure and that they can just kind of keep it at bay to make sure. I had 26 lesions on my brain, is what the MRI said. And then I went home. I was depressed for about a couple weeks, and my brother came to me actually, and he told me that I needed to get up and get out of the funk. And my dad, John Hewlett, the formulator of Cardio Miracle, he came to me with another nitric oxide product. It was the one that we started with actually, and it was with another company, a really reputable company, a huge company, and I had to take a serving every hour of every day in order to keep the nitric oxide flowing in my system. And the biggest thing that happened was my mom moved in with us, my wife at the time and I, and she started juicing whole fruits and vegetables for me. And 6 months later, I went back to the doctor and got a follow-up MRI, and they're like, you don't have any lesions on your brain anymore. And they said, we must have misdiagnosed you. The lens must have been dirty. And so it's still on my medical record till this day that I have relapsing, remitting MS, and I haven't had a symptom since probably April of 2009. And I'm telling you, it's whole fruits and vegetables. Like, God has given us these things on this earth to heal ourselves. And I'm so grateful that there are people like you, that you and Ashley out there, that are making sure that people know that even with, like, now I do like keto, like strict keto, strict, I don't do strict carnivore right now, but because I do implement the Cardio Miracle, which is 58 whole and organic fruits and vegetables. So I wanted to ask you guys that question. Actually, maybe I can ask Ashley, put her on the spot a little bit. Is if we're implementing 58 whole and organic fruits and vegetables in Cardio Miracle, is that a contradiction to like a carnivore lifestyle?
I mean, we don't feel that's a contradiction. And we've had this conversation heavily both with ourselves and patients. We're big fans of meat. We've worked heavily even in cardiac health or the cardiac field and all sorts of things. So we love grass-fed meat and all that. Like, that creates strong cells, healthy cells. But our ancestors also had access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And so that's a staple, and it arguably has to be a staple in this world that we live in, because we live in the most most toxic world of all time. Every kind of avenue, they're trying to poison us. And our best fight against all of that is the organic fruits and veggies. That's our source of antioxidants, our way to fight off inflammation, oxidative stress, and keep all our cells happy and energized. So we find that it's a necessity for everybody.
I love that. And yeah, and that's kind of what, so I became a strongman competitor in a former life is what I call it, right? And so I was flipping telephone poles, I was lifting cars, and I thought it was pretty cool for a while. And then I was like, I need to take better care of my health. I almost hit 500 pounds. And so then I went super hard. I decided in 2021 that I was going to change it up, and I started walking, and I walked 5 million steps in 2021, and then last year I hit 7.6 million steps. And what I do is I do OMAD, so I do one meal a day, and I intermittent fast for 20 hours, and then I eat for 4, and I'm eating very strict keto. And so I guess I could even call it, carnivore, because all I'm eating is meat and fat, right? And so it's just really interesting, and kind of it's really comforting for me to know that when I'm eating, bacon, or like my staple is if I'm on the road, which I like live in my car pretty much, that I need to make sure that I go to like a Wendy's or something and I get a triple baconator and I just eat the meat and throw the bun out the window. Circle of life, right? I gotta feed the birds too, right? And so we, they can have the bread, right? So it's kind of interesting. But as you've gone through this, how long have you guys been doing this with patients and getting people referred to you?
It's up to 9 years, right?
Yeah.
Total. So
Yep.
That's
Cumulatively that chunk of time. Yep.
That's amazing. So how did you establish yourselves and get into that whole situation where actual doctors are referring patients to you guys? That's incredible.
Well, the first one was actually somebody that I knew. It was, my gynecologist, MD, and then it was moved to a different practice with a different doctor. And so I knew her. So we'd set up a meeting. She's like, sure, let's do this. So we could be in each new patient package. If we do that, then we know we've got them right from the get-go. So they can be implemented with what they need. And then we take over after she said, this is what they have. Help them work on their nutrition and their supplements, and then word of mouth spread to another and then to another. So that's how it went in a nutshell.
That's amazing. Yeah. And then I see that Ashley's got that you're on Instagram, Ashley. I started following you actually. So with that, have you seen more clients come out of that, the following that you have on social media so far?
Yeah, we started that kind of, initial page, and we're working on getting our wellness warriors up and running, kind of collaborating that way. But it's a good way to reach people in this day and age where, they're bombarded with info again from their conventional doctor, info out there. And so they want a trusted resource. And so whether it's on that page or via coaching, patients love to have that education and then the empowerment. And so that's our goals. And kind of going back to what Cherie said on, why we work with these doctors and stuff is that we're in the field of functional medicine, holistic medicine. So again, these doctors they're advocating for you to change your diet, your lifestyle, take supplements, do the hard work. Whereas again, a conventional doctor might say, diet doesn't matter, or, supplements, don't take them, or just kind of go on your way, don't question me. Well, with functional medicine, they want health coaches to help the patients out. We come in to fill in the gap in care, kind of like a nurse with a doctor, but we're going to be your accountability buddy, your support buddy, guide you through all these, changes that in the end become habits for lifelong health. And that's our goal.
That's amazing. I love that. And so I know that you each have had, your own journeys, and you've, Cherie kind of shared with us a little bit about her cancer diagnosis and overcoming that, which is amazing. And then with Ashley, did you say you had like autoimmune or something?
Yeah, it was diagnosed again because doctors do love their labels, but it was
Yeah.
diagnosed as lupus, right? Same with MS, autoimmune in general. And there's a lot of people speaking out about this right now. It's like, it's not necessarily bad. It's not a disease. It's your body telling you, there's something wrong. There's something out of balance. So, yeah, it was autoimmune, presented a few different ways. We think that it came on heavily, with the, I was living in an area where there was a lot of Roundup sprayed in the air, again, with this, we talk about this a lot with patients, but 80s onward, basically there was the increase of seed oils in the diet. Wheat is heavily sprayed with Roundup. So again, that's our work. That was my work in getting well, was removing what wasn't serving my health, basically, and then giving it, like you said, whether it's Cardio Miracle, organic diet, sunlight, what it needs.
100%. Yes. And so as Diana, as you have gone on this journey with Cardio Miracle, what are some of the experiences that you've seen with your own personal health story, or like with your son Mike? Like I know
Yeah.
Mike personally, and he tells me every day how much he loves.
Oh, he does. He loves it. I've noticed better sleep.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. Sleep and energy.
Okay.
My husband is a type 1 diabetic, and he was on the maximum amount of insulin, long-term and short-term per day, that a human can consume.
Wow.
He's been able to cut that in half.
Mm.
And it took me 6 months to get that stubborn man on Cardio Miracle. But he loves it now. He's a believer. In fact, he told his doctor, she asked about his sugars, and he said it's Cardio Miracle.
Wow.
And she hadn't heard about it, so he jumped right in there. But yeah, and then Michael, my son, his blood pressure was sky high.
Mm.
And he's been able to level it out, and he's got 8 kids, big family, a busy career, and he goes nonstop.
It really does. Yeah. He works, he's like in IT sales or something, right?
Uh-huh.
And then he comes home and he makes calls for Cardi Miracle to our wholesalers. Like he's an amazing guy. So I'm like, dude, take some time for the kids. But back to Cherie and Ashley. I wanted to ask you guys about as you see people transform and change their lives, I just have to ask, like, how wonderful has that been? And also, with the congruency of like the Maha movement with the Make America Healthy Again, like how excited are you guys for this big shift that's going on in our country right now?
Absolutely. Robert Kennedy, we're so happy about that. So I'm expecting big changes, so that's backing us up 100%. It's everything we believe in. We followed him for years. We followed several doctors for years that also support Cardio Miracle, like Dr. Cherie Tenpenny and Lee Merritt and Christine Northrup and all those. Like, we love them. That's our belief system there. So I'm really excited about that. And as far as our customers, nothing is more satisfying, because I've sold insurance for 25 years, and I saw every product I sold, but I could see people taking 18 meds a day, completely unacceptable, and sometimes there were duplicates, brand name generic were the drugs that they had. So I got into this field because it's like, I'm passionate about healing people, and we've been told stories. My one husband said, "You know what? You saved my wife's life," and that's the best feeling in the world, because we know we had to do the hard work ourselves, but to hear it from other people, every day, it's just it's such a good feeling. Yes, they got to do the work, but the results are amazing. So
Definitely. Ashley, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the greatest job. So it's like we love what we do because it's transformation for people. And again, I think people can see too that we're so passionate about it. We're passionate about people getting to the finish line, whether that's to get off the blood pressure drugs, to fix their blood sugar, or to help with anything. We're passionate to taking them to that finish line because we know it can be done. They just need a good guide and somebody kind of, with them along the way. So yeah. Best thing ever to hear the stories from people and the transformations that they have.
Seriously, isn't it? It's like I feel like at the time when we had like we almost have about 50,000 customers now, and when we were around like 30, I guess, I took pride in the fact that I spoke to almost half of them myself, and so it's like because I've been with the company since the beginning, but it's so amazing to hear every time these people, like testimony after testimony after testimony of these people, that their lives are changing, and how you can't put a price, or you can't put even a value on when someone says you saved my wife's life, or you saved my husband's life, or it saved my life. I mean, it's really incredible. So leading myself kind of back to the introduction of the path to wellness is not a one size fits all approach. I would love to hear about your process on how you do this individualized journey, and this, it seems almost like a customized journey with people. Can you kind of bring us through that?
Yeah, I mean, we start with the patient. And again, we always say we kind of start with where they're at, or we meet them where they're at. When we're working with doctors, they're able to kind of send along their plan, the labs they've done, things like that. So we begin to kind of jump in there and say, all right, well, what are we looking on? Again, we're wanting to become a detective with a magnifying glass, and even, beyond what the doctor's done, look further and see what we can find. Looking at the gut, that's a huge component. We always work on the gut with patients. We look at maybe what's causing the inflammation, which would be toxins, environmental toxins, heavy metals, mold. We look at nutrient status in the body and the diet itself. Are they getting enough vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, omega-3s? And again, looking at all these other, risk factors and things like that we can target naturally. And you might want to tag team that too, but yeah.
That's okay. Absolutely it. So as they're willing to take the journey and take responsibility for their own health, because that's what it is all about, then they continue to improve. We've had 20 calls, 1 hour calls with the patient, things like that. That's where the real transformation comes. 6 calls, complete transformation. They're, before they were just miserable and not feeling well. So we love to see this. As long as they take responsibility, they take the initiative, we can do this. So yeah, it's so rewarding. It's just so rewarding. So
yeah, and it is customized to each person. But again, we're going back to the foundations for health, the things that we've stepped away from in modern society that, our ancestors thrived on. That was like real food, sunlight, in touch with the earth, grounding. So we also will give people those very foundations to return to, as well as the specifics, specific supplements, specific diet, exercise that would benefit them, that sort of thing.
I love it. I love that, because when I'm in my health journey, I've done so many workout programs and so many weight programs and so many food plans and everything and so many friends in this space, friends, colleagues, associates, all of them. And so when I go to one of those friends or those colleagues or associates, then I seem to always get this kind of, yeah, do this and you'll be good. Do this and you'll be good. And it's like this cookie cutter plan. And I'm like, dude, that's not like, because if I'm dialed in, like it's insane how much weight I can lose in a week. And I don't know if it's healthy. I don't know if it's not. I don't know if it's water weight, but it's like if I go through this process with someone, then it's really you can't do a cookie cutter plan because I've been through it all, and especially with my weight training program, like with me lifting as heavy as I usually lift, like I have to do like a certain amount of reps, usually it's 5 reps, and trying to go for strength. But then if I'm trying to cut, or if I'm trying to lose some weight, then it's going to be more reps, right? More repetitions is what usually you're told. But it's so fascinating that you guys do this like individualized, like cool plan, like and the grounding to me is amazing as well. So I have to ask you, with this big buzz, it seems like there's a big buzz on grounding. Do you think that these grounding blankets and things that I'm seeing all over social media, do you think they work?
Well, it depends. I make it a commitment for myself and also my clients. I'm like, get outside a half hour every day, in the sun and grounding with your bare feet on the ground. And so there's tons of science to back it up. Like there's the Earthing book. I think it's by Chris Ober. So they've healed a lot of things. We're meant to be outside. We're not meant to be indoors, 24/7, which is what most of our jobs are, right? In front of a computer, but we're supposed to be outside. That's what our ancestors were. They were working outside all day, like the farmers, things like that. So that's where we're supposed to be. So if you can just commit to a half hour outside every day, that in and of itself is going to help with joint pain, everything else. It's providing energy. Actually, the blood cells do change in the body when you're between before grounding and after grounding. It's just amazing. The people think, oh, that's kind of strange. I'm like, just give it a chance. Just try it. I dare you to try it before next time. So it's great.
Trust the process, right?
Yes.
And so can you kind of bring us through the process of getting to the root causes of what people might be going through as you guys are coaching them?
Yeah, so we dissect the whole thing, and usually we have a little heads up from the doctors. Like I think they have Hashimoto's, they have high blood pressure, they have a condition, a label, and we take that and we look at the labs and we and determine exactly where the issues are and resolve them with the food. It's very simple, right? With organic, nutrient dense food always, and then the eating pattern, the eating window, staying away from certain foods and implementing supplements. So that's what we do. And then once we're done, then we follow up with, we send a clinical note back to the doctor and we continue on the process until we've, achieved results. We haven't had a case where we haven't improved life, right? Improved health and improved life. And so that's what we do. You can add to that, Ash.
Yeah. I mean, I think, all of that is great. And that's all what we do. I would just say, people I think sometimes don't realize how deep that we go for them. So again, maybe they come to us with, most recently we've had a few cases. They come to us with like high cholesterol, a high calcium score, and they're thinking, we're going to tell them to just avoid meat or something and work out more. But we're saying, look, like contrary to what you've been told, A, you do need red meat. That's good for your cholesterol. But B, have you thought about toxins? The liver is your organ that is going to control cholesterol. So we want to look at your toxin load. We want to detox you. And what we do with a lot of patients, which I think, eventually they end up loving it, is we go through them, again, kind of hand holding. Well, where are all the toxins in your home? The things you're breathing in, the Glade plugins, the candles, kind of all these things that are endocrine disruptors and tax our livers. But again, we're just going to find, what could it be? What has anybody missed? What can we find that is contributing to the problem? And then how can we get you over the problem, fix the problem with the foundations and whatever else is specific to the client? But we're big on toxins and we're big on gut health. I think everybody tends to have a compromised gut, I guess, in this world again, too. So we all have to, the gut is where health starts.
Totally. And yeah, I hear all the time about leaky gut syndrome and stuff. Can you kind of explain what that actually means and does to people's health?
Yeah, so the lining of our digestive tract really should be kind of like brick and mortar, nothing gets through. It's a barrier. With leaky gut, which I'd say the vast majority of people in this world have, up 98% probably. And for most people, I will say it's kind of like a silent disorder. So people always think they should have notable gut symptoms. But we tell people that it actually usually presents more like, a heart issue or a brain fog issue or things like that, because it's the inflammation that starts in the gut, manifests elsewhere. But back to leaky gut, essentially you start to get these kind of microscopic holes in the gut lining. And so every time you're taking a bite of food, those food particles, toxins will trickle into the bloodstream. And so the body says, attack, attack. And this is big for, autoimmune too, going back to that. They've even studied it. It's kind of a root cause for autoimmune disease too. So we just have to come back to healing and sealing the guts, which we do with diet, lifestyle, supplements. Certainly possible.
Wow. And what, Cherie, in your journey, did you find that gut health was a contributing factor there with the cancer and everything?
Yep, absolutely. So you're not Before there's a reason why I got cancer. I believe is about I was supposed to turn things around, help fix myself and help others. And so you have to fine tune every time you go to the grocery store. I can tell you what's on the label of every product pretty much, so you have to be able to read the ingredients on the label. You have to know what you're eating. Try to not go out to eat, no ultra processed foods ever, so it's about dissecting that. And I did that. I went through my cupboard, I threw everything out and started over again. And so that's the key, right? Just give ourselves clean, good food, the right hydration, the right minerals in either an electrolyte form, things like that. So it's just the basics, but people don't realize that the labels have changed over the years, right? They used to have like ketchup just be ketchup and salt or something. Now it's like 12 things on the ingredient list on ketchup. So it's about sourcing our products correctly. And so that's what I had to do. And then, work on the mind aspect of it, because I was, fighting cancer. So you've got to say, I only said positive things to myself, reiterated over and over again. So, that's what I did as far as helping my journey.
That's amazing. That's amazing to hear. And so now I'm putting you on the spot again. With your, actually, maybe we should get your husband up here and put him on the spot. If he's going down with his insulin, what is he going to do in addition to staying on Cardio Miracle to make sure that he continues that regulation?
He's eating better.
Is it? Okay, good.
We're eating clean. Yeah, we started that. And then just getting him out. He's got a little peddler he uses in his chair at night, but he loves to be outdoors anyway. So, but when he was on those high doses, there was a lot of depression.
Sure.
And I've noticed that since that has come down, the energy's come back up. And yeah, he turned 78 this year.
Wow.
And I mean,
he looks great.
I know.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Really cool. So, okay, Ashley, Cherie, both of you, let's talk about sugar. The legal drug.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, the first thing that I do when the switch is flipped and I start going hard is I'm like, no more sugar and no more additional sugar, right? There's sugar, natural sugar, and fruits and vegetables, whatever. But I'm talking no more cookies, no more additional sugar. So how is that? How can I phrase this? How do you help people to either minimize or have some balance with sugars that are out there these days?
It's basically tracking or journaling is what we do, as far as like, you won't believe the people that like oat milk in their coffee. No, that's a bad one, right? So there's so many things that they have to take a look at, and it forces them to deep dive their own. They're like, I can't believe how much sugar is in there. Or even a kombucha, 14 grams of sugar. So, and that's a healthy product typically for us, but you've got to watch it. You've got to pay attention. You've got to document, just like you got to count your protein and your fat and your healthy carbs or veggies every day. It's the same thing. Once you see it and it's an awareness, then you can make changes. So it's simplified that way.
Throw something in there about carbs that
please.
We got with when Don started this process. He's from the South, so it's grits and eggs and bacon and toast every morning.
Sure.
And to him, none of that is bad for him.
Yeah.
Because he didn't realize that carbs turn to sugar. And when they sat down with him and showed him how many carbs were in that basic meal, as opposed to what he should have per meal, he was eating 4 times more than what he should have had. Because they recommend for him 68 carbs max per meal. And that's, it sounds like a lot until you realize that, toast, if you have 2 pieces of toast, you've got almost 60 carbs right there.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Sorry.
No, it's great. I love it. So Ashley, do you have anything on the sugar pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we talk about too with patients is we are all trained to be kind of sugar burners. Like our bodies are preferred glucose burners in this world because of all the access, the easy access, like we've been saying, to the process. They're sneaking sugar in. So even the fad of like the 80s and when they were like, oh, go low fat, well, they snuck sugar in. And it's really sugar, refined carbs that drove obesity, that drove heart disease, all of that. But now we're working with patients to return to this concept of also teaching your body to burn off stored fat for fuel. So you're doing that, with keto and fasting. And that's why we both feel that like, well, we all should have an eating window and a fasting window every day, because we have to teach our body like, well, no, you don't always get sugar. You got to burn off stored fat, or you got to, burn the fat you're consuming. So we work heavily with patients on first kind of opening that door up and saying, well, let's try eating more fat and fueling yourself that way. And then we do have great blood sugar hacks that we'll work with patients on, because the biggest thing is too, we don't want high spikes and, dips of blood sugar. That's actually what leads to aging and all of that. We want kind of like rolling hills. We want to keep our blood sugar stable. And even Diana was saying that with like the depression and all that, the biggest, effect for a good mood is to have stable blood sugar. And so that you can do that with diet and supplements and lifestyle and all that.
That's amazing. I love that. And so, I've been told I have so many people that have so many good advice, so many things that are good advice, right? But when I was almost 500 pounds, nobody really came up to me and said, "Hey man, you probably shouldn't pound that stuffed crust pizza all by yourself," right? And so
Yeah.
now that now that I'm eating, steak at 1 p.m. and steak at 1 p.m., 5 p.m., whatever, in my eating window, I get a lot of crap for that. So it's kind of interesting just how many health experts come out of nowhere. But the biggest thing that I have been told time and time again is it's 80-20, right? 80% diet, 20% gym. As long as I have the balance, I'll be good. And so I'm an extremist, obviously. So I would think it's like my body doesn't start changing until I'm like 100% dialed in on the diet and 100% dialed in at the gym. So what would you say to someone about that 80-20 rule?
Well, we're big. I was just going to say yeah, you're right. Like we're big on saying 100% diet matters. Like you go all in, you source it correctly, and we don't have the luxury in this world to not do that basically for health. So yeah, we're all like 100% diet, and we're big advocates for moving too, but both together. You can do both of them 100%.
Totally.
Yeah.
No
I
cheat
love it.
days.
Yeah. Cheat
Oh
with the
yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff.
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you about that. I was gonna ask you about that too. What about cheat days? Are those beneficial, or because I know Ethan Suplee, that guy, that actor, unbelievable guy. I actually looked to him a lot because I think he was almost like 700 pounds or something like that. I mean, he's tall, but he was actor, Boy Meets World, Remember the Titans, and this big guy, and he's lost like 300 something pounds. He's unbelievable. But he says he never does a cheat day because he doesn't want to get back into the old habits. And so, what do you say about cheat days?
Yeah, no cheat days, because
Yeah.
he's right. It's habit stacking. So once it becomes part of your habit,
Yeah.
it's like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
That's it. It's there. It's ingrained in your brain, and that's how you're going to function going forward. So you're not going to allow the bad stuff in. You're going to make the best choices possible given any type of circumstance. So we teach them kind of the laws of the nutrition and laws of the land that way, and then they understand it. So it's just awareness. It's just knowledge that education we're providing.
Love it. I love it. And I was talking in one of my previous podcasts about not making food the reward. And so it's like, usually at the end of a game, if people are like, if you get a goal, we're going to go get an ice cream, or if you get this, and instead of it being a reward system, I had this big paradigm shift in my mindset, that I was like, if I lose my 10 pounds that I want to lose in this time frame, then I'm going to take a day and I'm going to go for a hike, or I'm going to take my kids and we're going to go to a water park, or something like that. Like just somewhere fun, or just do something fun, or maybe take, a couple more hours to go to a park and do some grounding or something. So do you guys have kind of like a reward system in your program that you put together for people?
I don't think we have it's their reward, right? Better health is the goal, right? Better health, longevity is the goal.
Yeah.
So we want to implement that. We want people to live to 100 years old, like the blue zones type people, enjoy life, be outside, be active, no aches and pains. And so that's what we want. That's the joy, getting rid of the things that are burdering. I can't say it.
Burdening
people,
yeah.
burdening people. And going forward, it's the sky's the limit. It's an upward spiral. Our life should be an upward spiral. So they have to think differently and think like us, and that journey.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's our motivation for people and why they're willing to make these changes. And, we always say too, like the food, once you get on this kick of like real food again and, new recipes, there's good, healthy products out there. You don't have a lack. Like there's really good food out there and you can still enjoy that. But the biggest thing is that we want people to have a health span, like she said, living to 100. And we're working with them, talking about them at the beginning, like, well, what are your goals? It's beyond just losing the weight. It's probably so that you can go travel when you're 80 and, enjoy time with the family and, be cognitively sharp. So it's those end goals to the big goals that matter.
I love it. Yeah, beginning with the end in mind, right? It's really cool. So now, Cardio Miracle is the sponsor of the Pulse Beat and everything. So I would love to hear about how you guys kind of have implemented Cardio Miracle, because from the talks of what Mike says, you guys are like our top enrollers. I mean, you guys are like enrolling all sorts of people. And so obviously you're using Cardio Miracle a lot in your program, it sounds like. And can you bring us through that, how you guys have been able to implement it?
Well, yeah, we started with, yes, I'm drinking it every time I'm talking to a client, right? I'm like, that's the easiest thing, to get 50 organic fruits and vegetables in it in a day while you're sitting there working. So, and plus, when we first got going, somebody called me and said, "Hey, thank you for your purchase." I said, "What? Who does that? How can we be part of this company?" Seriously, because people don't have the courtesy and the kindness that they had, the 50s or 60s, where they thank you and there's great customer service and all of that. That was step one. Step two, we love the product and we follow the doctors that have the product, like Dr. Cherie Tenpenny, like Christine Northrup, like Lee Merritt, like I think Judy Mikovich. So we love all those doctors. So we follow all those doctors. And so we've heard about it before. So we jumped on board.
Unreal. I love it. And so Ashley, as you guys are getting people on Cardio Miracle, as what I like to say is when the discovery of nitric oxide was being awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1998, they talked about how nitric oxide is the greatest regulator of the entire body, both the endocrine and the cardiovascular system. And so how have you been able to help people understand that whatever they're taking, if they're taking other supplements or if they're taking vitamins or if they're taking, even prescriptions, that Cardio Miracle is actually going to help it get to the rest of their body faster. So can you kind of bring us through your process?
Yeah. So again, with coaching and stuff, it is huge education, because people are going to want to know, well, why am I taking this supplement? Why am I in it for the long run to take this supplement? If you talk to patients and educate them about why they're taking it, they're totally on board. And that's the same for both, Cherie and I as well. So a lot of our education, again, when we're telling people, we have Cardio Miracle, we take it every day. is that first off, it is the best blend for boosting nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is that little molecule that sits in the blood vessels and elsewhere that is responsible for so many things. But the biggest kind of thing that impacts people these days is cardiac issues, high blood pressure, oxidative stress, inflammation, all of that. So this is very easy for people, who have those issues, because we've been able to get people off of meds, because high blood pressure, first of all, is not a pharmaceutical deficiency. It's not a genetic problem. It's a lack of nitric oxide. And whether it's that or it's, aging or it's brain health, if you want to prevent dementia, it does come back to nitric oxide. And people often will say, well, these are diseases of age, it's because it's age and age. Well, it's not age. It's actually, as you get older, you have less nitric oxide. And that's, again, because we live in a toxic world. Our guts are destroyed, all of that. So this blend is amazing for patients, and will educate heavily on nitric oxide, but also in there's so many good antioxidants, again, to come in and kind of mop up, clean up any sort of damage to tissues. There's a full kind of nutrient profile. We'll tell patients all the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. There's even glutathione in there and things like that. So it is kind of your cup to keep you healthy in this world. So we love it for patients and for ourselves.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we call it the complete nitric oxide solution, right? So nitric oxide was actually called the spark of life in the cell, as well as just the great regulator. So I love that we've been able to sit down and talk about this. Where can people find you guys?
So we have our website, and we're always happy, again, to work with doctors or patients directly. Yourwellnesswarriors.com is our website.
So we don't have a big, online presence with Facebook or anything like that. We have Ashley's got the followers for Instagram, but it's word of mouth where we're at. So I'm happy with that.
Yes.
Awesome.
We love working with people, but we've got that, yourwellnesswarriors.com, health@yourwellnesswarriors.com, and then our phone number, 480-584-1041. So you can text us too. So
yeah, we do free discovery calls, working with patients, meeting people.
Yeah, the free
Awesome.
discovery call is like 15 to 20 minutes, but we kind of see where they're at, and we can show them where there's room for improvement. There's room for improvement for everybody to live the best life. So that's what we do.
That is incredible. Thank you so much. So Diana, do you have any last words for us today?
Just take care of yourself. I mean, we didn't come here to be miserable. Yeah. We need to be healthy, and you're happy when you're healthy.
Heck yeah, I love it. And Cherie, Ashley, can I get some last words from you guys?
Take responsibility for your health, because that's the key, right? So there's always room for improvement. And like I said, an upward spiral for health. That's the goal.
Yeah, get to the root causes of disease, and just remember, kind of in every aspect of life, if it's sports and you want to advance, you've got a coach. Business, there's a coach. And so with health, there's also a coach, and that's us. And our goal is to get you healthier, faster, happier, faster, all of that. And we can certainly do that.
Yes, you guys, thank you so much for your time today. We're so grateful to be partnering with you, to have you guys a part of our family, the Cardio Miracle family. We absolutely love the fact that we're able to work with you and refer people to you, and make sure that others are kind of seeing your process. And we're so excited to be able to go forward with you. So we want to thank everybody for joining another episode of the Pulse Beat, sponsored by Cardio Miracle. If you like what you see, we would hope that you would like it, share it, send it out to a friend, anyone that's in need. We want to make sure that we get it out to as many people as possible, and really are able to take our health into our own hands and really make this happen. So we're really excited to be a part of the Making America Healthy Again, and excited to have this platform where we can share as much health and wellness as possible. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.